case someone does not know you, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Nathan. I do MMO and RPG content on YouTube, and as of the past couple of months, I've also started doing Twitch, all my streams on Twitch as well. I play a lot of Embers Adrift, and I cover. I am. I side heavily with the more classic style MMORPGs, but if a new one comes out, I'll try it and talk bad about it, and then go back to playing Embers and etc. So.
Yes, you have very interesting collection of video on your channel. And also, the Nathan Napalm is the best salesman ever. And I'm going to prove it with this little clip. Look at this.
This game is released, Co-Badger. It's great, and you can try it for free. Go to embersadrift.com. I got a link in the description as well. The top 2 links are to buy it, but right below that in the description, if you look at the full description, I got a link straight to the website. You can try it. So the way it works is you can play the first zone and anything attached to that zone. So like it's a couple dungeons there. There's also the main city. And you can play as long as you want, but obviously that first zone eventually you're going to out-level. You know what I mean? You can try it for free. Make sure the game runs good on your rig. Make sure it's a game you think you'll enjoy. All that kind of fun stuff. And then, once you realize how much fun it is, you decide you're going to buy it. Use my links on any of my Embers videos that help support the channel. Graphically, this game looks leagues better than Pantheon. I will 100% agree with that. Graphically speaking, this game looks great. The lighting engine is one of the best I've seen in an MMO. And it shares a lot of similarities as far as like general gameplay loop is excellent. Very old school. Like what we're doing right now. We're camping these areas. Now, there are placeholders, and we'll probably see one here in a bit, but we're camping for Dark Forged, a name that has he's a name that has a chance to drop an axe. We did actually get one tonight. We're still camping them because we still got a couple more people in the group that would like it.
And voila, a little extract of one of the latest stream you are doing. So every Friday you are doing those, or no, every Wednesday, sorry, because it's just before the meeting. You have those live stream where you're exploring the dungeon. You have a static group, right? Correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so the last community show where we discussed together, which was the first one of the year, we have been, of course, making some little prediction about the roadmap and all that kind of things. Then the roadmap got released. You covered that on your channel. And now we are already at the 3rd patch. So what do you think about the start of this year's in Embers Adrift?
It's been good. It's felt like for the first bit here that you guys have really focused on honing in on making things a little bit more easier to read in the game, to know what's going on. I feel like it's been a big focus on the experience so far, and that goes across the board for like new players or players that play all the time or people that are coming back. Like you guys have made improvements that are very obvious, like the Z's, right? That's my big one. That for mez targets, so it's a little bit more obvious to tell when things are mezzed or when you're pulling hate as a tank. So that's my favorite so far because I feel like that made the biggest impact to the game. We're going to talk about what my real favorite is later, but as far as like, things that affected me as a person who was already playing, right? Not a new player.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far the free trial also has been quite successful. I think we had some new player, but also some returning player, and so that's something that made me very happy to see the new player that are coming in. And and be quite enthusiastic about all the change that has happened since the last time they played, for example. And so this is pretty encouraging.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Seeing people come back, and then, you guys have made, depending on when the last time people played, like, there's been some massive changes. I've talked to a lot of people who hadn't played in, like, say, since last October, right? And they're, like, kind of shocked with how much has improved, so.
Yeah, and we are continuing. We are working hard on continuing to add new content. So it's true we didn't had any massive big piece of content since Grizzle Peak, right? But it has been all kind of little addition. One of the things that we had promised to the community was to add the solo loop in the Ember vein.
Yeah.
And we are finishing this month. So 5 new solo loop are coming for this month. So that's pretty exciting as well.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, and that will be done. And because that will be done, that means we will be able to focus on the new content after that.
Yeah, and those solo loops, they work really well all the way through, right? So I have a lot of people asking me, like, yeah, these are great now, but, like, what about when I'm, like, level 35, right? It's like, no, they're still good. I mean, obviously you're not going to go to the same solo loop you were at level 10. You're going to go to a different one, but the XP remains excellent all the way through. And also, I want to mention that, by the way, big improvements, because it still feels good. It's still all about the journey. It's still not like some super fast, I'm going to get to max level as quick as I can. But it does feel better with the adjustments you guys have made over the course of the year as far as XP gains.
Yeah, this is not something really easy to balance because we want it to be, how can I say? We want the player to enjoy themselves, but at the same time keep on this long progressive journey, which goes a little bit, which kind of brush the people the wrong way sometimes, because players are being used to level like this super fast. But we really want the game to be about the journey and not to be about getting as fast as possible and starting to play the real game at the end. That's not what Embers Adrift has wanted to be, and that's not why we created this game in the first place. So, I mean, it's a difficult balance to have to be able to go on the side of the player that are a little bit more impatient, and while not completely making it too much, nerfing the content too much or making the progression too easy. So, which is why we are also so progressive in the way we do things, and we are not deciding, yeah, let's put 24% more experience right away. Because if we are going too far, then it will be too late. But we're going a little bit by little bit, then we can stop the right time more easily, right?
That's right. Yeah. So if you went too far in that direction, it will be harder to take that away than it is to slowly get it until you feel the right vibe. I think it feels pretty good right now. I've been having a blast with it, and with even if you only got a couple of hours, you can get even if you're at a higher level, you can get enough to feel good, right? Like you can see that big chunk you got, even in a couple of hours. So it's starting to feel good. I think I like it the way it is right now.
All right, I'm going to answer a few questions. Remesk is saying, which 5 Ember Vein solo loop? So you will have the Spider Recluse, which is the Spider Ember Vein in Meadowland. You have the Basilic Run, which is the Dryfoot one. The Derelict Sanctuary, which is the Mire one in Meadowland. So basically Meadowland and Dryfoot are completely covered now. And then the next one are the 2 high level one, the Crack Scale. I don't remember the full name on top of my head. And then the lair of the big boss, the Drollsk Ember Vein in Grimstone Canyon. So that's the last one that needed. So now, at the end of this month, all Ember Vein that are existing in the game will have a solo loop. Some of them, 2 of them, also have a dual. No, it's the Shriek one. That's the last new Ember Vein we have added to the game. So the Shriek Ember Vein has a solo, duo, and full group loop. And I think that's the only one that has all of that.
Nice.
Yep. And so that doesn't mean we are going to stop there. There's still certain Ember Vein that need to be added to the game, that need to be created to fill up the level gap. So especially at high level, there's still a few places where an Ember Vein will be welcome, but I'm not sure that will be the first content we're going to work on because we are right now busy with the Dryfoot Fortress.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good one.
So it might not be at the end of April, but it's being currently worked on. We have a new creator for that one, so it's going to be exciting.
Now, are we allowed to talk about what the level range is for that? Is that something we can talk about?
Yeah, it's something we can talk about, but I am not sure it's exactly decided because Drindin have said that it will be a level 51. Then Adrift have said that it will be a lower level. So like,
maybe they need to meet in the middle. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like part of the dungeon is for 30s or lower, and then later they come back at 50 and they got some content deeper in there. You could always do that. That'd be cool.
So what we really want to do is to ensure that there's enough content for the whole end of the leveling, because the beginning it's quite a good until through the train you're fine, and after it starts to be sparse, and we are filling that up when we can. So there's always new content, new Ember Vein, but there's also those dungeon plan. There's Forgotten Depth 3. In Forgotten Depth 3 is going to include the epic quests.
Ooh, nice.
And then there's the Dryfoot Fortress. So right now I don't really want to put the level in stone because I'm not really sure exactly how this will be organized, and I'm not sure we have really make a defined situation. But I know that during the community show where Drindin have been talking with me, have been mentioning that Dryfoot Fortress will be probably level 50, but I think it will be lower than that. Just so the level 50 are not very sad. This was not Fortress. Maybe not. But, we have plenty of other content to plan.
Nice.
And still some secret stuff to share one day. It's still not there. So the other really cool stuff that we are adding this month, and that I think no one was expecting so early, is the mail system and the inspect system, which are 2 quality of life features, but I think would be really nice, especially after the change with the itemization and all the colors that you have. It's much more fun to find some loot, right? So now you will be able to see everyone and see how many purple items they have on them.
Yeah, and you can start setting up your deals with people now, right? Like you can say, hey, I got plenty of this item you need for your crafting. Why don't you mail me some gold and I'll send it to you? You know what I mean? Like you can set up some systems now.
Yeah, exactly. I think the mail system will be really, really good for many reasons. Even for me, for the weekly game. I will not need to meet the people in game now to send them their gold once they win the game. And,
right.
And it's only the beginning of more cool stuff coming in, but we need the base, and so I'm really happy about that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, so Elloa just brought up a really good point. So everybody watching this later on YouTube or here on Twitch Live, send all your good gear, level 38 plus, to the name is Nathan Napalm. Go ahead and send all your good gear over. I will appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good point. At the end of the month, okay? For the 1st of April, guys. Get ready. So someone, Mazov is asking, on the topic of the inspect system, will there be a way to turn off the notification of being inspected? The notification you're speaking. Okay, so because what's coming with the system is first the ability of disable it. So if you don't want to be inspected, you can keep your privacy. You can keep your secret. And I will understand that some people don't want to share for a reason or another. So you will be able to be doing that. Now you will also have a notification when someone is inspecting you. It's possible, I do not know if it's planned, Mazov, but that's a good point if you don't want to have your notification popping all the time. So, yeah, yes, you don't want to hear a ping every time someone inspects me. Fair enough, I suppose this is something that can be added in the option. I don't think it's in, and I don't think it has to be planned, but why not? Will the mail system reduce the players interacting? No, I think it will make things easier. Because at the moment it's a little bit difficult. It's one of the biggest feedback we receive. Will we have an auction house? So no, we will not have an auction house right now. That doesn't mean never, but it's not really what we want to do. I think the mail system will allow to make the trade easier while not completely remove the interaction between players. And the trade fair on Sunday will still be organized. Don't worry.
Yeah, all that stuff still matters, right? Now, I do wonder if somebody inspects me, will they be able to see the color of my underwear or no?
Sorry, can you repeat the last part?
Like, if somebody inspects me, my character, I'm asking for a friend, would they be able to see the color of my underwear in the game or no?
Oh, no, the color of your underwear.
Okay, so there is
the
still
secret.
some privacy.
Yeah, of course. And another thing that will not be shown is your tools and your torch. If you have a special lantern or something like that. And that's just because that could not do it, and for some reasons.
Interesting, okay.
So it's not there yet. Maybe one day it will, but that's it. So one thing that will help this game and make it easier to help out player will be able to transport from campfire to monolith. Well, Voyager, you're called Voyager. Why are you asking something like that? I'm sorry, I had to do it. The reason why it's not done, I'm going to explain you. Because at first, we wanted the player to only travel from monolith to monolith. Then we have negotiated, all right, let's help the players to make their group easier. So let's allow the player to travel from monolith to the Ember Ring so they can go to their group faster. Once you have finished your content, you can walk back to the monolith. You don't have to travel fast. You can run. So I don't think it will be added. I can understand the desire, but it's like the inventory system. People want always more. And at some point you need to draw a line. It's important for us that in Embers, if you're walking, you're discovering the lands, you are traveling. So we have cut the pier into half. And so that's it, basically. That has been already the negotiation. But
it makes sense.
I understand that for a new player that just started the game for the first time, he see that limitation and is wondering why. But that limitation is in place because it has already been meeting the community halfway.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I know that like when you go to like a new zone, it's pretty scary. Because it's huge and you don't know and you're afraid you're gonna, get slaughtered by something out there, and then you're gonna have trouble getting back to your body and all that kind of thing. But like when you go to a new zone, just know just be aware of your surroundings, but explore a little bit, and before long you'll be able to get around. You know what I mean? It'll all start making more sense to you, and it does become a very, very, very kind of interesting part of the game is when you get good, which I'm gonna be honest, most of the zones I'm not good at this, but like when you're the navigator, that's almost like you're a role in a group sometimes, because if you've learned that zone, and you're in a group, people literally depend on you to get to wherever they're trying to go, or to get out of wherever they're trying to go, and it adds an element to the game, all the exploration for sure.
Yeah, I understand the point of view of the different opinions that are being written in the chat right now, but it's always finding this right middle ground. When you make the game too convenient, you are taking something away from the game. And this is not something you immediately realize, because at first, as a player, you will think, yeah, I want to go fast to the action. I want to go fast to the thing. And I think it has been illustrated very well with World of Warcraft vanilla back in the days. So World of Warcraft started with a kind of old school attitude. And then they made things more and more convenient through the expansion with Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm. And every time they added more convenience to the player, making the life easier. But while they did that, it removed the feel of adventure of the game, making it more like a lobby game. And so it will be important. I'm not saying that because we're traveling from Emberfire to Monolith and Monolith to Emberfire, it's going to be completely devoid of any meaning and a sense of adventure. But it is really a dangerous slope to slip, because when you make the game more convenient, certainly more convenient, but it removes a big aspect of the game, which is, it's difficult to describe, because some difficulties are needed to overcome them, to have this feeling of, we have done something. Oh, we had to run, it was far, huh? But there's plenty of really cool aspect to it. And the fact that sometimes it is boring will create also a connection with the game and overcoming the thing. So it is a really difficult balance to achieve. It's like the progression of the experience. You cannot make it too fast. It's the same thing. It's just like tiptoeing to find the right thing, the right middle ground. And maybe we could add it in the future, but we're not doing it for now. And I've just explained you the reason, and so you can understand why we are thinking that way. It's because we don't want to become this game where you go immediately, from dungeon to dungeon and stuff like that. You have to travel in the between.
Yeah, if you think of it like this, like with an MMO, let's say you're making a pie, okay, and it's a delicious pie, but you start taking away ingredients. Eventually, it's not a pie anymore, right? And if you're taking out, a few grains of sugar at a time, or it may not be noticeable at first, but after the long term, it suddenly you don't even have a pie, right? You just got some crust. You know what I mean? If even that. So it's difficult to try to remain true to a vision of trying to evoke the kind of feelings and the kind of community and the kind of making it feel like an actual place you're going to when you log in. That games like Embers does well if you're taking away too many of the ingredients that made that special in the way that it is supposed to be, right?
Yeah, and especially as all those things are almost subconscious, it's not extremely obvious in your face, and sometimes you may think, oh, this is a really great idea, but it will affect the person and the experience, denature it and remove something essential, like you described very beautifully with your analogy here. So all I want to say, guys, is that continue to give your feedback and share your feeling. And this is something that we keep in mind. So we're not saying, no, this is not going to be that way. Except for Blue Peter, it's going to be the compass, just so you know. But for everything else, we keep the feedback in our mind. And this is something we very regularly discuss. And here, what is our concern is to not go too far into giving too many convenience. That's about it. But it is still something we discuss. We know where there's some pain points, and we're trying to smooth things without doing it too fast. So, there it is.
Very good.
Now everyone wants pie. Congratulations, Nathan. Everyone is
pretty good. It's pretty good.
Well, the compass is Blue Peter because It's this beautiful planet that helps you to navigate. And this is another subject of contention. Some players really don't like navigating into the world. They are bad at it, they lose themselves all the time, and they don't like it. And that's all right, because you will have some players that are explorer, that enjoy to explore, and there's no other MMORPG that allow them to shine. And we really wanted to create this not interfacey manner of finding your way, so you will be inside the world, you will really make the experience of the world. And some people are going to lose themselves, like in the real world. Some people are good at finding their way in the forest and some others are not, which is why you have friends that you can rely upon. And if no one in the group is good at navigating, you're going to get lost and you're going to have an adventure that will probably last as a memory. Embers Adrift is not about being efficient. It's about sharing an adventure. And some people will enjoy to be efficient, even with all of the difficulties that Embers Adrift is proposing. So it is all about that.
Yeah, I agree. Blooper is awesome. I love it. I think that's the best. And I am the guy, by the way, I want you guys to think, well, he must just be good at navigation. I promise you that is not the truth. I get lost all the time, but it's fun. You know, it's a good time. It's scary. Sometimes you need to be scared. You know what I mean? Like that's part of the emotional roller coaster of having a good time in a world, right? In a digital world. Sometimes you need to be scared, and being lost and surrounded by monsters that can absolutely destroy you is the adventure maybe you needed that day. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Embers Adrift is all about, is being an experience that you can share with friends. And if everything is too easy and convenient, then you will not have anything to speak with your friend about, oh, and I got lost, and then I find some bats, and they confused me, and then I die, and I had to get my back. And there it is.
It's true. Like if you think back, like I remember in the earlier days of MMOs, it was super common that like I would go back to work and there was other people, maybe they didn't play my game, but they at least knew about it or they had played it before, and they'd be like, "So what did you do this weekend?" Because obviously I played the game the whole weekend, and I would have stories. Like I'd be like, "Oh, first this happened, we got this drop, and this hilarious thing happened, and then this horrible thing happened." I had stories of my weekend. And then as MMOs progressed, I won't name any names, but like as they progressed onwards, you literally played the game all weekend, but you have no stories. All you can say is like, yeah, we ran some dungeons. We, we did our dailies. Like there's no story anymore, right? And so Embers brings that back where you're gonna have some stories. You know what I mean? Like some stuff's gonna happen, and that's good. That's definitely. I noticed that back then. Like, I don't have stories anymore in MMOs. Like, nothing interesting happens in modern MMOs, and that's what drove me to drove my passion of being like, hey, I'm just gonna play the old ones,
Yeah, exactly. It's and especially when it's a game where you need to share your time with other people.
Yes.
So this week, I do not have any patch note to share with you guys. You can refer to the patch note of last week where we have been announcing the new content that we are adding. It's on the QA server and it's already next week. Next week is the patch. Do you realize that?
Nice.
This is crazy, right? So we will have an exciting patch. So what you can expect, beside a lot of little tweak and polish, the four major things are rework on the task, obviously, 5 Envervein, the mail system, the inspect system. And there's other stuff, of course, that you will see. But that's the biggest major things. So the bulletin board that we have introduced at the end of January, we're still polishing it. We're still ensuring that the quests are fun and not the quest, the tasks are fun, and we are listening to your feedback, and we're really reevaluating everything. So you can see, you will see when the patch note will be released next week, everything that has been done, or you can watch the show of last week when I've been reading the patch note. The patch notes are not shared publicly, so you cannot read them for yourself. You have to watch the show. Is there going to be at some point a way to drop the bulletin quest? We have been talking a lot about that, and this is not something we want to do right now because we have been discussing that during our community meeting. That happened the Wednesday night, and you're very welcome to join them if you can. And there's no good solution to that problem. So anything we can look at will have some really shitty consequence. That was the conclusion of a player, because we had this discussion where, and if we were doing it that way, or maybe if we were doing that way, oh yeah, but if we do that way, then that will be a consequence. Oh, and at the end of the conversation, that player say, oh, but there's only shitty consequence. Yeah, that's why. That's why we are not doing it. So we are aware of the problem, but we have not found any elegant conclusion for it. So right now, if you want to get rid of a task, you need to complete the task. That's it. Or just have it in your log. How about shareable quests? That's not really feasible with our quest system, because the quest does have different branch that player can choose, and they will make quests very different. So it's not something we can use, and that's also the reason why you cannot abandon quest. Here I'm not speaking about the task, I'm speaking about the quest. You cannot abandon a quest because the intricacies of a quest system is too complicated to allow player to abandon a quest. So I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but it will need some heavily redesign, and so we're not going to take time on that at the moment. So Nathan, are you ready to discuss about the topic of the week?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Oh, nice. So we have a nice topic of the week to talk with you guys. And so the topic of the week will be a little bit different, because this time we're going to speak about not Embers Adrift, but what's going on in the industry in general. And I would like to refer to 2 videos, or at least 3 videos, but you will only see an extract of 2 of them. The first video is from Redbird Flynn, and it's about the monetization in video game. Have we lost to the monetization in MMORPG? The second video is originally from ForceGaming, but I have chosen to take the Asmongold reaction to ForceGaming video, which is about a particular game in Korea, which has a lot of microtransactions, etc., that got kind of in trouble by the law and were forced to expose the system they are using to basically make players lose and push them to use more money on microtransaction, and specifically loot boxes type of microtransaction. Loot boxes which are forbidden in certain countries like the Netherlands or Belgium. You cannot have a loot box. Not even in Counter-Strike or in Elder Scrolls Online, loot boxes are blocked. You have no access to them. So, which show if it's, not available in certain country, maybe there's a problem with that. Anyway, let's see a little extract of those videos that I really suggest you to check out. If you're on YouTube, you will have a reference to the 3 different videos in the information box.
Is we got to get rid of all this bullshit when it comes to all these duplicitous tactics trying to convince you to spend money that you don't actually want to spend. All these tactics to get you to spend a small amount here, a small amount there, and think that you're actually getting some kind of value when you're not. Things that are done deliberately to make the game worse if you don't pay extra, to get as much money as possible out of a smaller group of players. Not as much money for the value of the game, but as ease the entry, get as many players as you can, and then squeeze a small percentage of them that are willing to pay for whatever you can get from them. The whales.
Now, what exactly am I talking about? Well, let's take a look. The patent for dynamic rates includes the following. If a lot of user activity, decrease rates.
Yeah.
Increase rates if users have low activity.
That's that way you get more people to do it. So as they tell each other, they're like, oh, well, you should do that.
Rates based on player location. If gacha items exceed expected number or set amount, decrease rates. Change rates based on number of friends on buddy list. Change rates based on buddy list stats.
Yeah, because like you logically want to give higher rates to people that have lots of friends, because then they'll tell all of their friends to do it. But if you have somebody that has no friends, it's easier to take advantage of them because they're not going to tell other people about it. I think it was the other way around. No, I don't think so. It says change rates.
Change rates for certain gacha items above some rarity. Change rates based on users' current. That's what's frustrating. We just don't know, and we really can't know. I guess on the plus side, you know, you might get rewarded when you're first starting out, when you have bad gear, if you don't have a lot of friends on your friends list, or when you return from taking a break. And like I said, in those circumstances, when implemented in that way, these dynamic variable rewards are fine. They're nice even. They're welcome. But the negative side is that possibility that if you play a lot, you're punished with worse odds and will be getting worse loot. Or if you fancy yourself spending money on loot boxes and gacha items, the idea that every time you pull big, the next X amount of dollars you spend are almost going to be thrown out the window because they are reducing your chance of getting anything good from that point forward, which is a major yikes. This whole thing really makes me think
this is something that can only work in the shadows. Like, they can't tell you that they're doing this. That this has to work as like a dark pattern type thing, right? It has to, but if it works in I think it'd be good.
We should demand
probably
way
make a lot
more
more money if they did
transparency
this.
as to how drop rates are calculated in a lot of these games and how or when those drop rates can change. This matters a whole lot less when it comes to just like what loot am I getting as a player and how often am I getting loot. It is frustrating in that it kind of, you know, it certainly impacts like the motivation to keep grinding. If you know for sure that a game is using a system like this, punishing you for the more often you play, I imagine that's going to kill the desire for a lot of people to keep on playing. But that's just the thing. Unless something happens that forces developers to share that information.
Well, also, like, players respond to rewards. Like, people respond to reinforcement. So if you create a reinforcement loop around not playing the game, then people will not play the game. Duh.
There we go. So three very interesting video that speak about a very important subject. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because ethics in video game is extremely important for Embers Adrift. And while it's not a feature for the game, it's certainly a very important and core aspect of how we develop the game. So Nathan, I would like to ask your opinion about the situation in the MMORPG nowadays related to monetization.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad to say, but you know, this all really is being driven. The whole cash up thing's really been driven and really kind of took off because of free to play. That's been created, and you know, it's encouraged like a whole, you know, large majority of people out there that free to play is actually the best way to do an MMO, and often people will say it's the only way to release an MMO. But to be free to play, there's got to be a cash up to fund the game, right? And with the cash up, and even cosmetic, right? Even, we're just cosmetic. The degradation of the game begins, right? Because now the publisher, the investors, they're going to need the developers to work on those cash up items, right? They have to, because that's what pays the bills. So the world of the game, the lore, the dungeons, the raids, all the content, that's all there and only important now in order to drive people to that cash up, right? It's not it. So the world in the game, that's no longer the product, right? The cash shop is now the product, because when a company has to like basically break down how they survive and how they pay the bills and keep the lights on, how they make money, that's where they have to focus their attention to survive and to keep this game online. And when the product is the cash shop, it means that there is no innocent cash up, cosmetic, whatever. Like it's it's been poisoned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is really beautifully said, and I cannot agree more with what you just said. Even when it started very innocently, and a few years ago, I think Redbird Flynn really explained it beautifully in his video, and he's really speaking about the sparkling horse in World of Warcraft. And I remember very well when it's released, because my ex-boyfriend at that time offered 2 of those for our Christmas or something like that, and we had our sparkly pony as a digital gift to ourselves, which seems like quite innocent to do that. But didn't we know at that moment that it will be the start of a degenerations in terms of what it is? And
Right.
I think it's extremely visible with Elder Scrolls Online. So I'm not going too much into criticizing as a game or anything like that, because that's not the point here. But Elder Scrolls Online, for example, had a certain way of having their lore and their aesthetic. When they bring mount into the cash shop, they needed to be super fantastic. And now what you see when you see people running around in Elder Scrolls Online, you have all kind of sparkly and fiery thing that still fit the lore, okay, but it's supposed to be the very exceptional thing. It's nothing exceptional. Everyone is riding on a flaming horse or whatever. And it kind of remove a little bit of the immersion. You're not into this really Elder Scrolly world anymore, because you have Daedric stuff right and left.
True. Yeah, and I think the saddest part of all about this kind of what's happening and the way things are going, especially with that new development of that leak of like how they're like depending on where you live, depending on your friends list, and like all these really nefarious kind of ways of doing it. It's really just awful to see, because like the well that we're drinking out of now is completely like poisoned, right? And I consider MMORPGs to be the greatest of human invented entertainment, right? It was the genre that was invented to actually be a video game, but to bring people together and let us kind of share in a fantasy world and work together to achieve things together. And there's just so many things that the MMOs do, like people with maybe a disability, right? And they can play this game and they can be treated like everybody else, which maybe they don't get that out in the world. You know what I mean? Like, just MMOs are such a beautiful thing. I mean, you got people that meet lifelong friends. You got people that make real bonds. People get married, off people they meet in MMOs. It's the genre that was designed with really honest and good intentions, and now thanks to things like this, it's becoming a cesspool with like really dark and twisted tactics of monetization. Sometimes, like we were talking earlier about loot boxes, like tapping into like casino and gambling addictions, right? And you got children accessing this. I mean, it's wild.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is really, I think, something that is very damaging, because even if you want to do it in a fair way, you cannot really do it in a fair way. And MMORPG were kind of removing also the social inequalities. You could be someone that has no money in real life, you could not afford to have a fancy car, but you could be a super excellent tank and have the most pristine epic gear. You could do that because you were earning it. And here now we are back into the rich have the fancy stuff and the poor have just access to the game. And here we're just speaking about cosmetic, but then we have all those games that are intensely manipulating people to create whales, which are those people that are spending ton of money into a game. May they afford it or not, it's more like on the addictive side almost, because they can be on top of the food chain. If there is whale, there is plankton. Plankton are the plebs. They are all the other people that are not spending money on those games. And there is a video I've not talked about because it's an old one, but it's from All Craft by Asmongold and a team of other guys. They were describing the monetization of Diablo Immortal and mobile gaming in general, which is absolutely atrocious. They have psychologists to establish the monetization so they can manipulate people. And it is extremely dirty to think about that.
This and like with the Diablo example, Redbeard Flynn in his video, he was talking about that, like, so they're taking the things that we complain about cash ops and they're twisting it, right? So like we said, like, well, it's not fair because, like, if you only offer this for a limited time, that's FOMO. And they're like, well, they'll be back sometime, but we don't know when, right? So it's still the same tactic, right? Like, these are only up for this month, so you better spend the money and buy all the cool things that we got. And then brand new shiny things will be up next month. But eventually we'll cycle back. You just don't know if that's going to be a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road. So it's still the same. It's the thing is, it's like, you got to understand, like, these big publishers are hiring psychologists, right, to design these things. They're getting to the very root and base of your psychology in order to push these products. And of course they're going to do that, right? That's where the money's coming, so they're going to do everything. I mean, that's why the MMOs at one point were fair, because the way that you made money was like what Embers does. You charge a box price, you charge a sub fee, and then you release an expansion every now and then to get another big injection money, right? So an expansion, that's your big injection, to maybe get more hiring and stuff like that. So, but now that's just not the path that people take. And it's a situation where a lot of people can't get funded to make the game unless they agree to terms of, and I'm sure you guys made an MMO, I'm sure you guys dealt with that, where it's like, yeah, we'll give you an injection money, but we require XYZ, right? And it's leading into that world of cash shops. So,
yeah, and like you were explaining very well earlier, the product become the cash shop instead of the product become the game. Here with Embers Adrift, because we have decided to never have a cash shop because we don't agree with the ethics behind that system, and because it is being very, very sleeping on the slippery slope, but it's still sleeping apparently, when you see how far certain situation can go. But we are forced to make the game better if we want to keep the customers. Like, if we want you to subscribe to Embers Adrift, we need to be sure that you are having fun. While if we were focusing on the cash shop mechanic, we will have to be sure that you will have interesting things. Like, I don't know, teleportation potion, so you can teleport from an Ember ring to a monolith or something. Or what else do I know you? Oh yeah, speed potion to run faster on the road, or maybe a little experience potion, that costs like €20 the pack, $20 the pack. There will be things that you can do. Or you don't like that your crossbow is not fitting your outfit? Well, then we will sell a nice crossbow instead of asking our artist to make a new crossbow for you. So we really wanted with Embers Adrift to create an old school game, but we also wanted to recreate the original feeling, which was, I purchase a product, I have access to this product, and I can play the game and earn my content in the game. Because we can say cosmetic is not pay to win, but for certain it's pay to win. Because for certain player, looking super cool and badass is how they earn the game. There's a lot of game where people will spend all of their time collecting all the item they can because it's the fashion game. That's also a kind of end game for some people. Therefore, when you add cool stuff in the game and not just in the cash shop, that's also important. So here I want to be clear that I'm not criticizing specific game, even if we have pronounced the name of a game or something here and there, but it's more like the industry that has taken that turn. And the reason why the industry had taken that turn is because that's what's work. To just have a MMORPG with a subscription, people are not okay with that. that's how we wanted to start with Embers Adrift. We have the box, we have the monthly sub, that's it. But we realized very fast that some people don't want to purchase a monthly subscription. One of the arguments is, I don't want to feel forced to play the game. I feel pressure to play the game. And I can understand that point of view, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with that feeling. But at the same time, there is need a way of getting the money to fund the game, right? The game costs things. MMORPG costs a lot. Even when you have a pocket team, there's still a fee and bills to pay. But if you don't have the monthly subscription and you don't have a cash shop, then you don't really have anything, you say?
Yeah. Yeah, and you brought up a good point there. Like, it's because it's working, right? Because that's how they're making money. So it brings up the question, like, who's actually committing the crime here, right? Is it the company? Is it the company for making a world that people enjoy so much that they're willing to spend $25 for a mount? Is it the company that's responsible for the crime because they're like offering a weight reduction bag for inventory for $30? Or maybe it's us players that are committing the crime by supporting them for buying it, right? For example, let's turn this around back with the players. If you make Kool-Aid at your house, right? It costs like almost nothing, right? A cup of sugar, Kool-Aid, I think is like $1 something for a pack. And you make a pitcher, and there was people waiting at your front door willing to pay $25 a glass. You wouldn't sell it to them, right? I bet you would. You know what I mean? So the real crime and the real problem, the only way we can really like slow this down and change the industry is we got to change our habits, right? So if we didn't buy these things off the cash app, and there may be nobody in chat who did, but there's plenty of people who do, right? If we didn't buy them, that wouldn't be a lucrative business model, and things would change, right? So, I mean, just remember that we vote with our dollars. So put your dollars somewhere where you support it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so all of this talk to reassure you guys, Embers Adrift is not going to add a cash shop. Even though we have opened the game for a free trial, so players that were doubting about the game, not sure they will enjoy it, they can try. People that have difficulty to convince their friends, now they have a good argument to bring them in, etc. You can try the game, and if you like it, if you want it, then you can buy the boss cost, and if you really like it and you want to play several characters, then you have the subscription fee. So we have been very careful into making the subscription not a pay-to-win things, right? It was very important to us, and it's not easy to find appealing perks that are not pay-to-win. You could arguably say, yeah, but you can play 5 characters, and when you're not a subscriber, you can only play 1 character. Isn't that pay-to-win? I mean, we can discuss about that, but we really try to give some incentive, which I think it's a good one. If you really like the game, you want to subscribe. If you play too casually, maybe to justify a subscription, or you cannot afford it, well, you still can play the game, but just with 1 character. So we really try to make things fair, to really open up the gate and not to close them. So there had not been any manipulation wish from us, which is the important part. But at the same time, we still need to reward the people that are supporting us, and we still need to give them a good reason to do it, because it's our only possibility for us to earn money is to sell the game and to sell the monthly sub. Outside of that, we have no revenue at all. So, and we're very grateful for everyone that does that. So that's the only thing that can be done, because we really have, I will not say that we swear an oath, but it's almost that. The whole team has agreed. We would rather close the game than to add a cash shop if we one day had to go to that extreme, because we disagree with the way the industry has come. And when we worked on Embers Adrift, the idea was to bring something fair and just for players to enjoy. And now If we want to seduce you into our game, we have to produce a very good game. And that's what we need to work on. There is no manipulation there. There's just working on a good game.
Yeah, and everybody wins, right? We get content, we get updates, we get our world expanded and new things to do, and also worth mentioning that Embers has the lowest subscription fee also in the MMO industry. You know what I mean? It's a good deal. You know, if you think about what you would have done with your subscription money if you wouldn't have paid it to play Embers, right, and to get the perks. I mean, what would you have really done? Bought a couple of coffees, you know what I mean? Like, it would have made an impact in your life, right? Like, even, we waste money on silly things all the time. So, for entertainment, you know what I mean? For a whole month, come on. You can't beat it. You can't beat it.
So the price of a sub is $10 per month for US, but unfortunately it does not include the tax. And so I will take the chance to make a little addendum here for the players that are not from USA. There's taxes that are added, unfortunately, and that's not something we can control. If we were a big company like Blizzard, Bethesda, whatever, I suppose that's what they do. They kind of cover the loss, but we cannot do that, unfortunately. So the tax, that extra that you have to pay as a non-US citizen, it's to your government. It's not to us that you're paying them. It's the government that take that. But we cannot make the difference because we are a too small company. So it's unfortunate. So I know that for some country it's really, really, really ridiculous, but yeah, we cannot do that. So yeah, the gameplay here you see, that's the new Ember Vein that you can see some image of right now. It's me very badly playing my character, so please don't pay attention to the quality of the gameplay.
Be very careful, your spiders.
Yeah. So what do you think will be the solution for a more ethical world of video games?
Honestly, I think the only way that we have a shot at fixing this, honestly, is it's hard to say, but like the only way I could see it ending or getting better is by indie developers like kind of overtaking AAA publishers, or I hate to say it because I don't want this to happen, but if they continue, because this isn't even just MMOs anymore, right? Like cash ups are in single player games, they're in almost every game, right? Like people praise a game when it comes out, it doesn't have any form of cash up, right? Elden Ring, right? Like or Baldur's Gate 3, when those games come out, they're so rare now that everybody praises it for that reason, when that should be the norm, right? So, if they continue, and at this rate, I don't know why they wouldn't, because they're making so much money, it's going to crash the industry, right? Like it's going to get to a breaking point where people don't like to play games anymore, because it's going to continue to be up in our face, cash up every single game we play, and eventually, I mean, it will absolutely destroy all creativity and innovation, and there'll be no reason to play games anymore. You know what I mean? So that's the only two options I can see that will fix it, because they're making hand over fist money. You know what I mean? There's no reason for them to just stop.
Yeah, we can see this. The selling pack that some games are selling with virtual things that are crazy expensive. That are not a little bit expensive, they're like massively expensive. And it's the fact that some people are willing to pay that. Remember that it's digital. That to have a small item or huge item, it's the same, almost the same cost in design, maybe not exactly, from the development point of view. all of the value attached to it, it's a fake created value. So it's the buyer that are giving that value to the things, or maybe it's the seller that are creating it artificially, but it's artificial because it's digital. And I don't know, we also are in a world in crisis at the moment. And while to have fancy digital pixel stuff is nice, there's also a better way to help the world or to contribute to the world, I think. I think it's maybe, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching to anyone. Don't buy virtual things because it's bad. You need to save people in Africa or whatnot. But it's still something to think about in the back of our minds. Is it really the smartest and wisest way I can invest my money? And I have been guilty of that because I have buy stupid things in the cash shop sometimes in some games.
Yeah, sure. We all have. Yeah. Yeah, it's a mess. It is wild that we live in a time where, like, imagine going back 100 years and trying to explain buying a $38,000 digital ship in a certain MMO that's got that up for offer. And by the way, you can't just buy the $38,000 ship. You have to have previously spent $10,000 previously to have the right to buy the $38,000 ship in said game. You know, like, imagine go back 100 years and trying to explain that to somebody, right? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. But in the video of Red Flynn that I really suggest you to check, there's a little note of hope. It's finishing with a note of hope, which is nice. It's saying that some companies are stepping back away from those systems. They are starting to see that, okay, maybe we have been too far. Maybe people don't want. Because there had been, and I think consumers have been facing things that were so unfair that it has become scandalous. Like I say, loot boxes are forbidden in certain countries because of the gambling addiction they can create. So we see that I think we have reached a limit, and now people need to step back to find something a little bit more balanced.
Yeah, hopefully the pendulum is swinging, where they've taken it too far. And right now is a good time to take that stand because, like, you're going to get praise for that alone. You know what I mean? So it's a good time for some companies to say, hey, let's be the ones that don't do it, right? And make a stand, and that's going to boost people. That's going to boost the PR, of this title or this IP, because otherwise, man, we're going to ruin all the IPs. You know what I mean? All the brands and IPs out there are going to be destroyed if this continues. There won't be nothing. There'll be nothing sacred left.
Yeah. So all in all, what does it goes with Embers Adrift? That we're committed to offer something fair. If there is problem with the loot table, it's an accident, it's a bug. We're not doing it intensely to manipulate the things because you have more friends than the other guy, or because you are in this country and not in that one. So there is not those kind of things. So RNG is RNG, and if you have too bad luck, it's because you have bad luck. It's not because we're manipulating you. So be sure of our commitment to produce a healthy, ethical game. That's our goal. That's what we want to create. And we know that there's plenty of things to improve about Embers Adrift. I'm not saying that it's the best game in the world, but we're working on that. And if we want to earn your trust and your commitment, we have to create a good game. And so that's what we're doing. And that's how we are doing. We have intentionally not introduced in the game some even gameplay feature that can induce dopamine shoot and all those kind of things, like the daily system, why your bulletin board is composed this way, and why we are not allowing the player to abandon the quest but once a day, for example. It's to not go into this kind of behaviors and trend, because anything you can change will have impact on the psychology of people. And then if you can reset your task every day, it will become very close to a daily, isn't it? And a daily may make some people addicted to, because that's why they have been created in the first place. They are producing those kind of dopamine shots in your head, or regular the monotony of an activity. It's when you do something every day, then it become part of your routine, and then it's become part of you and who you are and how you behave every day, which is why those things has been created in the first place. And we don't want to go in that route. We want to earn your respect and your enjoyment of the game because the game is fun and enjoyable, and not because we're manipulating you to enjoy it.
Yeah, very true.
And-
All that stuff could be dangerous to a person's lifestyle too. I actually know people who still play a certain game to do their daily, and they don't even like the game anymore. That's just what they do. You know what I mean? Like from this time to that time, they log in, they do their dailies, and log out, and that is it. And it's just like you said, it's part of their routine. That's what they do. Like they don't even care about the game anymore.
Yeah, it's important, I think, as players to really be sure that you are free and you stay independent of mind and you do what you want. If you like to do daily and you choose to do it because that's what you like, then do it. But be
That's
sure,
different, yeah.
be sure that it's a choice. And if you say, you know what, I know the ethics and I know the cash up are crap, but I really want that horse. I'm going to buy it for my birthday or whatnot. Do whatever you want, but know why you're doing it and know the consequence it has. Be aware of the things. I think that's the most important. And as a developer, I think, well, people are going to develop their game the way they want, but we are going to make sure that we are making the game fun and the world engaging and not using manipulation trick and stuff like that. And I think it's important to stay ethical and remember that a video game is made for people to enjoy themselves, to escape reality, to make friends, not to enslave them in some weird patterns.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not to manipulate them, which the one thing that was leaked with the one game, that's definite, that's intentional manipulation, right? Which they didn't want that like Asmongold said, they didn't want that to come to the light of day, right? That was supposed to be super private. For obvious reasons. I mean, it looks horrible, right? And it is horrible. It's 100% pretty bad to treat people different because of because of where they live or their financial situation or how many friends they have in a game, etc. I mean, that's wild.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about that. And here, there's one game that come to light, but how many are they using this or similar tactic or even milder version of the same stuff? Who knows? Then suddenly you think, I always get the loot that I don't want. Is it coded that way? Well, maybe it is actually. We would have thought that.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's time to speak a little bit about the community and see what's happening. So this week, I have one thing that I want to talk about. This week, I just want to mention a thread that is pretty important, is getting started in Embers Adrift and on the forum. That's something that I have been creating, in March 2022, so 2 years ago, but I have been updating it for the trials. So you will find all kind of information in this thread. So if you have some friends that are trying the game for the first time, it might be something good to mention to them. There is the welcoming video. There is also interesting video made by content creators. You have tip for new players, a weekly community show playlist, news and announce playlist, and the Dev Roundtable playlist. But then you have the review for Lazy Payon that is pretty old because he did that in the beta, but I've left it because it's a lazy payon. There's a video of me. There's the new player guide by the Nathan Napalm, which is a very excellent player guide, very complete. A very new video created by Annoying Llama, which is new player guide for free trials. The Alchemy guide by Sparrow. The Roadmap 2024 by Static Group Live. And the free trial by Redbird Flynn. So it's a little compilation of different content creators that are interesting to watch. And of course you have, if you want to know the origin of Embers Adrift, you can check this interview on MMORPG.com. It's an old one, but it's really indicates you the base and the core of the game. Then you will have all other kind of, little place where to go. The weekly events, that's important. The weekly event, we have event every week. So first there's the maintenance and the community show every week. There we go. Then we do also have the community meeting on Discord. This is a Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central American time. And so it's a community, it's a meeting to chit-chat together, to speak about the game, to share your feedback, or just to speak about random stuff and tech news. It has been created mostly for social reason, but there's also Adrift that come up. So if you have questions about loot, equipment, abilities, or population of mobs like Embervein, dungeons, etc., Adrift Live is a person that take care of all of that, so you can ask your question directly or discuss different topic with him. And all of this meeting and everything that has been discussed during the meeting is being reported directly in the developer meeting right after that. So we are always discussing what has been discussed in that meeting, unless we talk about the weather and personal news that we don't share, obviously. And then the Sunday, there is the trade fair. So every Sunday at 2 p.m. Central American time. So it's a moment in New Haven City where everyone is invited to gather, to trade with other players, craft with other players, or to socialize and to meet people and to see what's going on and what the players are. I also organize always a little mini game. It can be a duel tournament or hide and seek or a drunken race or whatever. And there's always goals to be winning. I did a very nice game last week. I've been a little bit... what can I say? This was crazy. I need to tell you that, Nate. So it was challenge me, and if you win the duel, I'm going to double your bet. Okay?
Ooh,
so
okay.
Very simple. People come, 50 silver. Okay, you lose 2 bats, you win 1 gold, something like that. And then you had Levy that come up, bam, 10 gold. Of course he win. Okay, Levy, congratulations, 20 gold for you.
Wow.
Then he decided, I'm doing it again. And he won again.
No. Did he go with the whole 20 the next time, or did he do 10 again?
Yes, 20. He
went 20. He went all in. Oh, no.
I had to put myself a limit, of course. So after he wanted to do it again, I said, no, sorry, I don't have anything now. It's over.
So if you need to borrow some gold, his name is, it's spelled Levi. Send him a message in the new mail coming, and let him know you need to borrow. He's got the gold.
Yeah, it was very funny. So when we had another person that lost all his duel, he was scraping gold because that was a new player, so really not rich at all. And he lost 4 duel, and he lost his money every time. So
that's a fun game, though.
Yeah, so it was a fun game because it made a lot of excitement. You had an attroupment, people were watching, they wanted to see what was going on, so even if they were not participating themselves. So you never know what can happen on the Sunday. I'm changing game every time, finding new ideas and new silly things to do. So join us the Sunday at the trade fair. Anyway, here you have Twitch and YouTube, so you can find some content creator from the community. I've updated the list with the streamer that are actively streaming Embers Adrift right now by alphabetical order. Alice Blue, Annoying Llama, Genra the Grey, Gulo Gulo, Mr. Cuddleshire, Static Group Live, Sparrow, the Napalm, and Yarpen Zingra on YouTube. And obviously I'm going to continue to add new people when there's new people to be added. Then we do have a little things for the free trial. So it's clear what happened as a free trial, what you can expect about the game. And then new lists like the wiki, etc. that you can find, get started as a player. A few lines over here. So there it is. If you have anything that you think will be worthy to be added in this exhaustive list of stuff for new player, feel free to answer this thread or to tell me privately, and I will add it. There it is.
Very awesome. And the free trial is great, by the way. That was a great idea. The way it's implemented. Get access to the first zone. You can go to the first dungeon. You can even access the city. It gives you a good little sample there to number one, make sure it runs on your computer, which they've done a lot of optimization. I had a buddy with a really low rig and the game ran fine, like really good for him. So they've done a lot with that. It's pretty amazing for how good the game looks and the lighting and all that it runs on lower end machines. But just to check, before you spend the money. But also, this game isn't for every single body, right? I find that hard to believe, and it's a hard pill for me to swallow because I love it. So it just seems like everybody should love it, But it's not for everybody. No game is. So you can come in, you can try it out for free. And that's a big chunk of content, to be honest. You could be playing for, you could spend an entire weekend, like the whole weekend, and hardly even sleep, and that would be enough content for you to devour to make a decision. And hey, look, I said earlier, we should be voting with our money and putting it to a developer who's trying to do things ethically and not just like delivering a product that is good and fun and awesome, but also they're doing it in a way where we're getting lots of content on a regular basis. Like they're constantly improving this game in a good way too. Like usually the further into the content you get, the worse the MMO gets. That's generally how it goes, right? But this game has just continued to improve on the vision that they wanted this game to be from the beginning. So I love it. And I think you got to go try it. You got to go try it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We really try to... The reason why we work on Embers Adrift is not to make fame and fortune. That's not our intention. We really wanted to offer a good product, and we wanted to create it out of passion for the genre. And because we're a gamer and because we love to play MMORPG, and so we wanted to create a game that will be expressing things that we find are lost nowadays in the industry. Not saying that the other games are not good, far from it. I really love the other game. I'm playing them myself when I have the time, and I wish I would have more time to play them more. So it is really not a disguised criticism towards any other game. Not at all, but this type of experience we don't have so much anymore. You can maybe find it still in the old games, and as there are 20 years of existence, it's not the same thing as starting a new, fresh game, obviously, because people have played them for a long time, so they are established in those games already. So, but modern MMORPG, you don't have so many. There's a few there that are in preparation or that have released already, but there is not a lot. And so we do think that this type of game are needed to have a nice balance of entertainment to propose to the players. So that's the reason why we wanted to do that. There it is. Let's do a little weekly game. The weekly game. If you do not know what the weekly game is, it's a little game I do on Discord every week. So it's very easy to participate. You just have to post a screenshot. There is some instruction to follow, but they're pretty simple. So just, have a look, participate, and you have the chance to gain 1 gold, which soon will be sent in your mailbox, but not just yet. So we need to wait the end of the month for that. There we go. So this is the weekly game on Discord. So what it was: take a screenshot including you and precisely 2 other players. In other words, I want to see 3 players on the screenshot. Not 2, not 4, not 5, but 3. Can be anywhere in any situation, and 1 screenshot per player if you are several to participate. So here we have Marcus, which used this last week screenshot, but I didn't precise it has to be a new screenshot, so smart. But there's 3%, so it's good. Here we have Wallander, which is also around the Ember Ring. And they're a new player, probably. Here we have Zig in Forgotten Depth 2, in the Feast area. The Great Room.
That's a nice room, too.
Yeah, it's nice. Getting lost in the Endless Ant Tunnel. Are the ant tunnel fun? There it is, 3%. Crank, which is resting in a beautiful autumnal field by the river in Meadowland. And last, oh, not last, then we have Aluna with 3 other person, fierce warrior, all ready to fight whatever is in front of them.
Mhm.
And here's last. Oh, ooh, someone is is a problem in the web. Look at that. I like the little emote. Yeah. All right, we have 7 and 3 for this week. Let's see who's the winner. It would be funny if it was Levi.
Yeah, he's got the luck. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if it holds out today.
Ah, it's a 4. What's the number 4? It's Lemeron. Nice. Lemeron, congratulations. You have won. Lemeron was this endless tunnel.
It's a good pick.
There it is. Very nice. That's it. So now everyone is wondering what will be the next weekly game. Well, there it is. Let's celebrate spring with flowers. Take a group of friends and enjoy the blooming season. Can be anywhere, but it needs flowers. It also needs friends. Maybe I should have precised. Any flower counts, so it doesn't have gatherable flowers. It can just be decor flowers or flowers in a pot. It doesn't matter. And as usual, 1 screenshot per player. So there it is. I can't wait to see all your screenshots in Discord.
Nice.
And there it is. That was a beautiful community show, Nathan. Do you have anything you want to say to conclude this show?
Thanks for having me on, and to the entire Stormhaven team. I just want to thank you guys for continuing your hard work. I know it's not easy. You guys are not... There's a lot of easier paths you could take in the video game business that wasn't MMOs, but I'm super glad you guys decided to do this, and it means a lot to a lot of people, and your hard work doesn't go unnoticed. So keep it up, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's super sweet of you. A pleasure to discuss with you. It's always, a really good time to have deep discussion about the genre, as we are passionate and we share a lot of similar opinion about certain things. So it's always fun to discuss. Thank you very much, Nathan.
Yeah, thank you. And goodbye, everybody.
Yes, and to everyone, thank you for watching this episode. I hope it was interesting. It was a little bit bold of me to bring the conversation outside of the game itself, but I think it was an interesting topic. I think it's a important topic in the industry as well. Please be sure to check out all of the content creator I'm listing in the information box if you're seeing this video on YouTube. Thank you very much for doing so, and I wish you a very, very nice week, and see you next week for another community show. Bye, everyone. And next week it's the patch, so that's going to be cool and exciting. Bye, everyone.
Bye.